Before you go, subscribe, like, and comment. Click the bell if you want notifications of new episodes.
Start. I have really no idea where that shot hit because I didn't bother going out to paint the targets. And as you might have noticed, I was significantly faster this time and I was shooting over the backpack. So in the last episode I showed you how to be familiar with the backpack and how to compress the gear in the rear. Because of that I will always have a stable shooting platform at this end, and usually if the terrain is not too broken it's going to conform very well to the terrain. And also in my outer pocket here I usually carry a tarp or a jacket, and I know when I put down the rifle here it's going to be stable, and it's no longer just one point of stabilization on the front here like the bipod, but the rifle itself rests, and I can actually shoot with the rifle quite far in and it will rest on its own, or if the terrain dictates I will be farther out. And also you can use the backpack to rest your chest and support yourself as a shooter and shoot over a rock or use a higher bipod to get over vegetation. And I showed you the technique the last time: rifle in right hand, backpack in left hand, get it in, get the rifle on top and get behind it. So if I want more support I can simply slide into the backpack like this, and I'll give you an image so you'll see how steady I am on the target. And let's move the backpack further in front and I'll be further back. Okay, so it's a very basic principle and it's very easy to shoot over a backpack. So for sure, shooting over a backpack works just fine, but it can be a bit noisy getting into position and it can require quite a bit of movement. And in that respect I prefer the bipod simply because it's easier to get stealthy into position. Do one more target. I haven't painted the targets now, so it's going to be a mess. So it's going to be center hit or nothing. 35. Now I just put some paint on this turret, so it's going to be a bit faster and I can dial visually. Back to 0, 10, 20, 30, 35. Right hand on the rifle, left hand on the backpack, and because I have compressed it, it's always going to be a natural shelf for me here. Hold the rifle, hold the backpack, get it into position. And as you can see, for the shorter ranges, in this case 388, you're going to be very steady on the target. And it's the same as always. Get the finger 90 degrees in, put the thumb in, hook the rifle and pull it back into the shoulder. Check natural point of aim. That's good. And you can shoot. That was very much a center.
This episode contains sponsored items. Before you go, subscribe, like, and comment. Click the bell if you want notifications of new episodes.
I can only do 65 here, so I will have to do a little holdover as well. So this has been an absolutely genius product. Now, you might have noticed that I'm doing a hell of a lot clicking with the 6.5 57R compared to the 6.5 PRC. And that is not because of a dramatic difference in trajectory. It is first and foremost that this is a 1/4 MOA scope. So basically for every 10 clicks I need with the colors, I'm going to do 14 with the size here. So if you're under the impression that the image quality is a bit blurry, that's quite correct. And that is because I don't have a parallax adjustment on this scope. So when I aim now, I have to choose whether or not I want the target or the reticle to be sharp, and I have to do the focus switch back and forth with my eyes, just as I would with open sights. So that makes this scope a bit more uncomfortable to use, especially when I'm shooting at game, because with the mountain game especially I try to break the shoulder bone, and to see that through the fur you actually need a very sharp and clear image. But it's not going to have any radical impact on the shooting itself. The rifle will still shoot, and I'm not going to miss the target because of the lack of a parallax adjustment. It's just going to be a bit more uncomfortable shooting. So, somewhere on the target. I didn't paint it, so I really don't know. Okay, let's redo that with a modern scope, so you can see what it looks like when you can adjust the parallax. And here's another drawback with electronics. I need to enter the app and change the active cartridge. So, for reasons I don't understand, it hasn't linked up, so I can't change the ballistic profile. So even though I have the 6.5 active in the app, it's not actually linking up. So it tells me to change the battery, but I did that on my last range session. So the fear of having the battery die and to be left without data can be a very real thing with these binoculars if you just go out without changing the profiles. So that's 540. And since we are using the backpack, right hand on the rifle, left hand on the backpack, and just line it up just as you would with a bipod. And there it is. So if you look at this image here and compare that to the size, which didn't have the parallax, the overall image is significantly sharper, and I can see both the reticle and the target. There is a numbered scale on some of the scopes on the side here. Disregard it, because the correct way to use the parallax is look in the scope and just twist and stop when it's sharp. And I like to do a fast twist, go a little past, go a little back, so that I don't have time to compensate. This is a 6.5 PRC. And as you can see, I am quite steady over the backpack. That's the center. The center. Okay, so remember the right hand on the rifle, the left hand on the backpack, and compress your gear inside by using a watertight bag. Perhaps I can also add that as a hunter, you need to be a bit more careful in not creating too much noise or too much movement when you move into the position. But there's nothing wrong with using a backpack. Now, I'm a firm believer that you should always protect your hands. When you're in the backcountry, and especially when you are moving through brushes and undergrowth, it's so easy to get a lot of small cuts and have minor discomforts, which you can very easily be without. And it doesn't take much to be unlucky. A small slide, you grab a brush, and you have a gash across your hand instead of just ripping your glove. So the simplest glove I use is a very basic garden glove. They will last 1 season and they do an amazing job of protecting your skin. It's enough to add a significant layer of safety, and it's going to set you back $1 to $2. So at least get something like this. Next pair I have is a windproof glove. So many brands have them. These are Arc'teryx Venta and have something that fits your hand and doesn't prevent you from shooting. There's basically very little insulation in these, but they do an amazing job of cutting the wind chill, and you will have a significant level of comfort. Okay, for insulation, do I have padded gloves? No, and the reason is they are usually bloody useless. They are expensive, they don't really provide proper heat, so the solution, by far best in class, you can't wear the wool gloves like that. And these grey black diamond mittens are probably best in class, and they also happen to be the cheapest. Another benefit with these mittens is that if they get wet, which they eventually will, these are so easy to pack and so inexpensive to buy that you just buy a second pair of wool gloves and you are instantly dry and warm. And these also do an excellent job of insulating the hands when you are glassing in cold weather. Binoculars quite often have a metal housing right underneath the rubber here, and to use ordinary gloves will be uncomfortable for the hands, and eventually you're just going to stop glassing. This is the worst option. And I don't think it's unreasonable to ask that you can use a hunting glove to shoot the rifle. One pair that I have is the Granquist Desert Combat Glove. Same product group as the Mechanics Fast Fit, but the quality is superior, lasts significantly longer, but it is also significantly more expensive. Now, of course, I also have waterproof gloves, and these neoprene gloves are what I would consider a specialty item. They don't offer much heat, but they have complete protection from water, and especially when you have to go through ice and snow and icy water, they can be nice. So these are for ice fishing, quite cheap and works extremely well. Good texture, easy to get a good grip. Now I also have insulated waterproof gloves, and this is the definition of a rubbish glove. It's bulky, you lose dexterity, and it's not at all warm. And it's just not possible to shoot a rifle with these gloves, not in any meaningful way. Expensive and useless. So if you want good waterproof gloves with insulation, go to one of the companies that makes gloves for climbing. The level of sophistication between these two gloves are significantly different, although both are in the same price class. This one is marketed for climbing, this one is marketed for hunting. This is the superior glove. And these gloves from RAB is what I would consider to be an honorable mention, or however you put it. Extremely lightweight, very packable, provides good insulation. They are windproof and they have a leather palm, but they will not stop one drop of water. But if you compare them to a merino glove, these are going to be significantly more versatile in the sense that they can operate over a much wider range of temperature. So if you are a big fan of gloves, by all means, gloves do exist that will get the job done, but they come at a price and they do not offer the same heat as a pair of mittens. And I'm not sure how many long-range proficiency tests I've done this season. It's quite a few, not all of them on camera. The long-range proficiency test has a 1 minute time limit, and the reason for that is simply to have a gauge so you can integrate all new gear. The 1 minute time limit is very generous, and I think it's fair to say that if you're unable to use your equipment inside that 1 minute window on the range, it's not going to come into play hunting. That's one part of it. So it's there to stop you from adopting inefficient techniques. As you see, the big work streams or the big tasks in the long-range proficiency test is getting to the point where you can shoot, getting your equipment deployed into position, and getting yourself into position behind the trigger. Those tasks are usually right around 10-15 seconds each. That's where you need to improve. Getting into the position, getting your gear out, and that's where you can also really improve when it comes to the time limit, never the trigger. So the time window from you deciding to shoot until you actually shoot, meaning pulling the trigger and the bullet strikes the target and you get a visual feedback, is usually from 2 to 5 seconds. There is no point in trying to rush the trigger.
Subscribe to the THLR channel by clicking the left logo icon, so you'll be shooting straighter than a drunk skunk before the sun shines over northern Norway.